This is for the North Node in Gemini. Now, the North Node is how you take your shell off in the world and become something greater than you can imagine. It gives you a chance to to have opportunity be available to you at a cost that is really just about your ability to walk into the unknown. So the formula is that your north node is your south node is your shell. Your north node is where you take your shell off. And the north node and the south node are two opposite points. So if you have the north node in Gemini, then you have the south node in Sagittarius. Okay, so your south node in Sagittarius is your shell. This is your armor that you come into this life with, and you have these past life experiences that created mastery with your south node. So Sagittarius is your mastery. You have a lot of knowledge. You have a very good open mind. You have an ability to see things far out. You probably struggle when you see that people are narrow-minded, or when people make like choices for themselves. This is where what can quite often happen. Like if somebody says, "Well, I'm going to do this," you might actually experience this need to control them because you see them as being narrow-minded, when what is really happening is that your south node is kind of overdone. And so this energy gives you more of the sense that, well, people have too many boundaries. Like, why do they have so much boundaries? I need to be bound. I need to go everywhere, do everything, adventurous, like the wildfire that Sagittarius is. And if you stay here, you will connect to, um, you will either do two things. You'll overdo it, so you'll be too preachy. You'll cross boundaries and lines that you shouldn't. And you'll not really understand what the problem is, right? But you can also, from the Eastern perspective on this, you can spend your life learning how to detach from all things Sagittarius. And so you'll be more spiritual with this energy, and you'll try your best to no longer be like promiscuous as much as you would like, and try to understand boundaries. And you might be a little more like trying to detach from disgruntledness, because the more that you detach from this energy, the less free you feel. And so it needs something to push you out. So, other experiences that you will find that will take you from your shell of Sagittarius into your North Node of Gemini is that your knowledge becomes too much, or people feel like that's all you want to talk about, or that's all you want to be. So, you always appear to be like you're, more knowledge, the know it all to everyone else. And you may even accuse other people of know-it-alls. Like the Sagittarius energy is like the preacher. The Sagittarius south node energy is when it's overdone, right? You've just been in this energy too long. It's like the preacher who is doing scandals on the side. And so it has a level of hypocrisy to it. So you can accuse people of things that you're really doing, and people will get tired of that. So you'll start to experience being kind of like thwarted out of your Sagittarius energy. Like people will not see you for the cool person that you are, the fun person that you are, that that everybody should know you for. They may not see you as fun anymore. They might see you as like goofy. And they also may feel like you are, that you, depending on the people that you're with, that you don't care because you have this sense of no boundaries. And also, the biggest thing is that people may thwart you out for your religious take on things, like your philosophies and takes. Like they might just shut you down, right? And it might like kind of be hurtful a little bit that it's happening, but it's really that rejection is trying to thwart you out of the Sagittarian energy into the North Node in Gemini. because your shell is where you're predictable, and now you're just becoming predictable. You're always the person who has a lecture for everybody. You're always the person who, has a lot to say, and it can almost be difficult to have a back and forth listening situation. And you also might attract people like that, and you're really seeing that projection of yourself. So you are thwarted out from being this person who like knows it all or whatever, and now you're kind of stuck in this space where maybe there's no more fun, and you have to start to learn. And you have to like learn how to learn through the art of learning how to listen. And you'll realize that and have this epiphany when you realize how much you know, but you've been deaf to a lot of things. So you kind of like own that part of you that has been a little deaf to things. And then you start to realize, that you haven't becoming a student again doesn't have to be a humbling experience. It's not about that you're not intellectual, that you don't know a lot of things. It's more about the fact that it's so exciting to learn new things. And when you're in that frequency, I think that your North Node in Gemini takes off. And you start to be excited. It's like, yeah, I knew all this stuff, but actually, what's really interesting is all of the things that I don't know. And you might be really starting to go heavy into your writing and unlock, your thoughts. Those things that you don't know, go into books and unlock other people's thoughts. And yes, you have a message, but you're learning how to communicate that message in a way that communes with people. It's the commune. Everything that has commune in the root word is the North Node in Gemini. You're learning how to communicate, to have community, to commune, and to be connected to people, which your South Node in Sagittarius also wanted to do and has been doing, right? But it's been almost too explorative. And so it's an explorative in Sagittarius that's run down because Sagittarius explores, like even like the promiscuous side, to input its seeds. What other places can I basically, I don't know any other way to say it, but jack off to? How many places can I go find it where I can output my thoughts? Right? And when you get into Gemini North Node, you're in the space where it's like, how can I input other people's thoughts and learn about learning other people and communicating? So now the energy is way more like the mind and hands connection. And so your learning has a lot to do with your writing. And it's a cyclic opportunity for you to almost create this ball, this massive like energy where you're learning and writing, and you input and output. So we don't take our South Node away, completely. We understand what it is, and we have this bouncing back and forth between our North Node and South Node. And so you'll have moments where you're sharing what you know, what you've just learned. These things are going to be way more exciting for the people around you as well, when they are able to hear something new that you've learned and see how you're developing a skill or developing off of what you're learning. That's actually going to be create a more exciting life for you, versus the one where you're out there just trying to shoot the shot off, with anything that you can find. Not to sound so awful, but I'm sorry. I don't mean to sound so awful about it. And I feel like I'm being a little bit more biased with Sagittarius. And I love Sagittarius, but I have had, because of my chart, I've had more ruffles with that energy. So there's a beauty to that energy, that it's so open-minded, but you're actually learning how to be more critical, not in a way where you're too serious, but critical thinking, discerning thinking like a student would. And so these are the things that embody you. And so writing, singing, talking, these are all still things that you develop, but it's just the nuance. It's the inner shift from teacher to student that makes people listen to you because you're also been listening to people, and that synergy and exchange is the true epiphany in unlocking what's happening here. So that is the North Node in Gemini. And if you would like to dive deeper into your North Node, like the house placements and stuff, I have the worksheets down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.